You're very welcome to this information talk about Alcoholics Anonymous. My job here is to let you know what AA is about. I'd like to thank you for your interest, and I hope that you get something out of this little talk, which is about 30 minutes long. Alcoholism is a serious concern today here in Ireland, but what I love about Alcoholics Anonymous is that we cannot comment, and we do not comment or judge anyone who feels that they have issues with alcohol. We believe that alcoholics cannot control their drinking because they are ill in their bodies and in their minds. This is one of the views that AA has of alcoholism. We also believe if they do not stop drinking, their alcoholism almost always gets worse. We call this progression or progressive disease. For an alcoholic, the disease is always progressive. We believe that alcoholism is a threefold disease: physical, mental, and spiritual. It's important to mention here that AA is not religious. It is not affiliated with any religion. And we also believe that alcoholism has nothing to do with willpower. Alcoholism is a disease that knows no boundaries. It affects young and old, rich and poor, people in all walks of life. Alcoholism can affect entire families. So how can a person tell if they're really an alcoholic? Firstly, only the person themselves can make that decision. Only the individual involved can say whether or not alcohol has become an unmanageable problem. There is a saying in AA that there is no such thing as being a little bit alcoholic. Either you are or you're not. Next, let's take a look at 12 questions that a person can answer in order to learn more about their drinking habits. Remember that only the person answering these questions can say one way or another whether they need help with their drinking or their quitting. 1. Have you ever decided to stop drinking for a week or so, but only lasted for a few days? Most of us in AA made all kinds of promises to ourselves and to our families. We could not keep them. Then we came to AA, and Alcoholics Anonymous said, just try not to drink today. If you do not drink today, you cannot get drunk today. Do you wish people would mind their own business about your drinking? Stop telling you what to do. In Alcoholics Anonymous, we do not tell anyone what to do. We just talk about our own drinking, the trouble we got into, and how we stopped. We will be glad to help you if you want us to. Have you ever switched from one kind of drink to another in the hope that this would keep you from getting drunk? We tried all kinds of ways. We made our drinks weak. We just drank beer. We did not drink cocktails, or we only drank on weekends. You name it, we tried it. But if we drank anything with alcohol in it, we usually got drunk eventually. Have you had to have an eye opener upon waking during the past year? In other words, do you need a drink first thing in the morning just to get started or to stop shaking? This is a pretty sure sign that your drinking is definitely not socially. Do you envy people who can drink without getting into trouble? At one time or another, most of us have wondered why we were not like most people who really can take it or leave it. Have you had problems connected with drinking during the past year? Be honest. Doctors say that if you have a problem with alcohol and keep on drinking, it will only get worse, never better. Eventually you will die, or end up in an institution for the rest of your life. The only hope is to stop drinking if you are alcoholic, or if you decide that you are alcoholic. Has your drinking caused trouble at home? Before we came into AA, most of us said that it was the people or problems at home that made us drink in the first place. We could not see that our drinking just made everything worse. It never solved problems, anywhere or anytime. Do you ever try to get extra drinks at a party because you don't get enough? Most of us used to have a few jars or a few drinks before we started out, if we thought that it was going to be that kind of party. And if drinks were not served up fast enough, we would usually go someplace else to get more. Do you tell yourself you can stop drinking any time you want to, even though you keep getting drunk when you don't mean to? Many of us kidded ourselves into thinking that we drank because we wanted to. After we came into AA, we found out that once we started to drink, we couldn't stop. Have you ever missed days off work or college or school because of your drinking? Many of us admit now that we used to call in sick lots of times, when the truth was that we were hungover or on a drunk. Do you have blackouts? A blackout is when you have been drinking hours or even days, which we cannot remember. When we came to AA, we found out that this is a pretty sure sign of alcoholic drinking. Have you ever felt that your life would be better if you didn't drink? Many of us started to drink because drinking made life seem a little bit better, at least for a while. By the time we got to AA, we felt trapped. We were drinking to live and living to drink. We were sick and tired of being sick and tired. Next, let's take a look at some of the patterns and methods that alcoholics use. Drinking beer only, limiting the number of drinks, never drinking alone, never drinking in the morning, drinking only at home, never having it in the house, never drinking during work, drinking only at parties, switching from one drink to another, drinking only natural wines, agreeing to resign if ever get drunk on the job, taking a trip or not taking a trip, swearing off forever with or without a solemn oath, taking more physical exercise, reading inspirational books, going to health farms and sanatorium, accepting voluntary commitment to asylums. We could add to this list ad infinitum. You may ask, can an alcoholic ever drink normally again? The answer based on AA experience is that if you're alcoholic, you will never be able to control your drinking for any length of time. How about drinking beer only? If a person is an alcoholic, touching alcohol in any form cannot be risked. That's a pretty dark slide, thinking of not drinking ever again, but the AA 12-step program teaches us how to live a day at a time. It can seem like a pipe dream at first, but like everything else, if you stick at it, it works. Next, we have an actor telling a typical member's story.
Things weren't easy in our house growing up. My father was drinking and he and my mother often fought. What I remember was the fear and feeling like I was walking around on eggshells. And because of this, I was determined never to drink. But the promise didn't last past my 14th birthday. And I felt kind of shy and nervous. And when everyone around me seemed so relaxed drinking, I just followed suit. After I had my first beer, I felt like I belonged. And I couldn't believe that I'd found such a simple solution to feeling bad about myself. I started hanging out with the older kids and getting in trouble with teachers. And in the end, skipping school.
You can't say that about someone's mad.
Nah,
you
you
can
can,
say it about
though,
me, but you can't say it about
No,
someone
you
else.
say about
you
me.
weren't too, though.
My family had no idea where I was half the time. By the time I was 17, I was drinking most days, and I'd convinced myself that I must be just a party girl. But bit by bit, I was losing interest in anything but drinking.
Get off me!
And I would drink anything. More and faster than anyone else, even the dregs on the table that nobody would touch. I was in a prison of deceit and lies, stealing to get drink. And I was powerless over what would happen after I picked up the first drink. I was a liability when I drank. I became aggressive and violent. Blackouts became normal for me. I just wanted oblivion.
Rain at all this year.
Yeah, rain the year we went, it rained the entire Saturday.
One of my friends choked to death on his own vomit when he was drunk. We were at a party and didn't even notice.
Maybe you should take it easy, like we all have to have some.
What? Like, oh my God. Oh, I'm only taking a little bit, like, and why are you being, like, oh my God, you're being so mean, like, seriously,
I'm
mind your own
saying,
business. But even that didn't deter me because I didn't care what people thought of me or what I looked like. I woke up in a cell in the middle of the night with no idea how I'd gotten there. The guards said they picked me up because I'd been causing havoc outside a pub. I was only 18 years old, and I felt like my life was over. I hated myself. It was after I was arrested that it all began to hit me, although I did continue to drink. When I finally hit rock bottom, I remembered 2 AA speakers that had come to our school years ago and told us about AA and how they had once felt hopeless.
15, that's cool. And you like to have a good time and go out and everything with your friends?
Yeah, do you not drink?
No, I don't drink anymore, but I used to. And
a happy young sober woman said to us that you're never too young to stop. But I couldn't bear the thought of living without drink.
Too young to stop.
But I was such a mess, it was the only glimmer of hope in my life.
This pamphlet here, you can have a little read of it if you like. What does that sound like?
All right.
All right.
Thanks.
See you, Roisin.
Bye.
Bye.
Hi, I'm Thomas and I'm an alcoholic.
I found the courage and I picked up the phone and I rang AA. And someone came and brought me to my first meeting.
The only requirement for membership is a desire to stop drinking. There are no dues or fees for AA membership. We are self-supporting through our own contributions.
It was very strange at first being with people who are so honest. And it took a while for me to have full acceptance that I was one of those people who had a serious drinking problem.
Our primary purpose is to stay sober and help other alcoholics to achieve sobriety. And I'm delighted to introduce Roisin, who's going to share her experience, strength and hope with us today.
But gradually I started to feel and open up and share when I hurt instead of bottling it all up. I'm Roisin and I'm an alcoholic. Hi, Roisin. And I'm nervous because this is my first chair. A day at a time. I'm now 2 years sober. I couldn't drink normally, but I found a solution.
Oh, that was a nice speech.
Oh, thank you very much. I could never have imagined having fun without drink, but I have a load of young friends now, and some drink and some don't drink. My behaviour completely changed at home, and last Christmas, my father joined AA. They say it's a programme of attraction. I love it in AA because it teaches me how to live. I've taken an honest look at myself with the help of another member, who's also my sponsor, and I've finally grown up. I'm back at studying, and I hope to go to college soon. It hasn't been easy, but with not drinking, I have hope and meaning now, and I'm sort of like the person I always wanted to be.
Okay.
Alcoholics Anonymous is a worldwide fellowship of men and women who help each other to stay sober. AA offers the same help to anyone who has a drinking problem and wants to do something about it. AA members say that they are alcoholics today, even when they have not had a drink for many years. They also say they are never cured. You may ask, what is anonymity and why is it important to us? However, the principle of anonymity is a basic tenet of our fellowship. Those who are reluctant to seek our help may overcome their fear if they are confident that anonymity is respected and that we are a program of principles and not personalities. AA members especially take care to preserve their anonymity at the public level: press, radio, television, films, and new media technologies as found on the internet. Next, we'll read the AA preamble, which is read at the start of every AA meeting all over the world and sets out in general terms what we are and what we do. Alcoholics Anonymous is a fellowship of men and women who share their experience, strength, and hope with each other that they may solve their common problem and help others to recover from alcoholism. The only requirement for membership is a desire to stop drinking. There are no dues or fees for AA membership. We are self-supporting through our own contributions. AA is not allied with any sect, denomination, politics, organization, or institution. It does not wish to engage in any controversy and neither endorses nor opposes any causes. Our primary purpose is to stay sober and help other alcoholics to achieve sobriety. Next, I'd like to give you a flavour or a brief history of AA in Ireland because it demonstrates the longevity of Alcoholics Anonymous and confirmation that it has worked. AA was started in Akron, Ohio, in the USA back in 1935. In 1943 it spread to Australia with an AA group formed in Sydney. In the same year, an Irishman, Conor F. from the west of Ireland, joined AA in Philadelphia. Those two happenings led to the start of AA in Ireland and the formation of the first AA group of native Europeans run by themselves in Dublin. Father Tom Dunlay, an Irish priest running a boys' town home in Sydney, had noticed and been impressed with the gradual growth and success of the Sydney group. In 1946, when he came back to Ireland on holiday, and while he was in Dublin, he was interviewed by the Dublin Evening Mail about his boys' home. Not alone did Father Tom give an account of his own project, but he also spoke at some length on the success of the Sydney group of Alcoholics Anonymous. At about the same time, Conor F., now 3 years sober himself and on holidays in Ireland also, he was determined to leave a group of AA behind him in Dublin before his return to Philadelphia. So with his wife's encouragement, he decided to devote the remainder of his holiday to this end. On November the 18th in 1946, the first closed meeting of Alcoholics Anonymous was held in Dublin, and 1 week later, on the 25th of November, the first open public meeting was held also in Dublin. In April 1948, the second Irish group was formed in Bundoran, and in May a group was formed in Belfast. July saw the start of the first Limerick group, and a year later, in October 1949, a group was started in Cork. And in 1950, a group started in Galway. And today, in Ireland, we have 900 closed meetings per week nationally, 250 in Connacht. We have 115 meetings in Galway, and there are 60 in Mayo. And we also have online meetings daily as well. A closed meeting is where only members who identify themselves as alcoholics are found. Can a person achieve sobriety alone by reading AA literature? A few people have stopped drinking after reading Alcoholics Anonymous, the AA Big Book. But the AA program works best for the individual when it is recognized and accepted as a program involving other people or members, a tried and tested form of talk therapy. Simply put, the relative success of the AA program seems to be due to an alcoholic who no longer drinks, has an exceptional faculty for reaching and helping an uncontrolled drinker who has an honest desire to quit drinking. In the simplest form, the AA program operates when a recovered alcoholic passes along the story of his own or her own drinking problem, describes their sobriety he or she has found in AA, and invites the newcomer to join our informal fellowship. The heart of the suggested program of personal recovery is contained in the 12 steps. A common obstacle to attending AA meetings is the question, won't everybody know I am an alcoholic if I come into AA? Anonymity is and always has been the basis of the AA program. No disclosure of a newcomer's attendance at AA can rightfully be made by anybody but the newcomer. Usually we just keep that stuff to ourselves. There's no need for anyone else to know that I attend AA meetings. Next we have another actor telling another typical member's story.
I came from a good home, worked hard as a young boy and won a scholarship at college. At college everybody seemed so confident where I was a bit awkward, so it didn't take much pressurising at my first party when the lads offered to add vodka to my Coke. I felt confident, and one of the lads. I thought I'd finally found a solution to being comfortable in my own skin. I pretty much drank my weekends away at college. Then I got a job teaching when I graduated and found it tough going. So I started frequenting the local and met people who drank like me. It made me feel relaxed, and I felt it was a reward for getting through a tough day.
Yeah, there you go. I hear patience is a virtue.
For your troubles.
Thanks, Barry.
Yeah, sláinte.
Cheers, down the hatch.
My headmaster started asking me about my missing days and my unkept appearance and even the smell of alcohol off my breath.
I just have to give you a verbal warning.
I decided I'd show him. I don't have a drink problem, so I managed to stay off it for a few weeks. But after my first summer's evening, when I drank again, I got arrested for driving over the limit and lost my licence.
I can smell alcohol on your breath. Have you been drinking?
I just had one glass of wine after dinner, so...
Okay, would you mind stepping out of the car for me, please, sir?
What's the problem, sir? I was even asked to hand in my resignation at work. Sorry.
Mr. Edwards, I'd like to perform a breath test on you.
There I was. I'd lost my job and my driver's licence. But I thought I could turn a leaf and control my drinking if I changed my life. I always felt I had something to prove to be a real man. So I retrained and got a job in a successful accountancy firm and got married. The night we took home our first son, I nipped down to the pub and got smashed.
John, bar's closed. What? I have a home to go to even if you don't.
Two more for home. If you put your hands in your pockets and give him 2 more,
Bar's
okay?
closed. End of
I
story.
pay your wages.
I'll never forget the look on my wife's face, the hurt, the shame, as I stumbled into the bedroom that night.
I don't want to know.
Life at home slowly deteriorated as I spent my evenings in the spare room drinking alone. I was in a state of despair, and even though I could see it was destroying my family's life, I couldn't stop myself. I was on the brink of losing my family and my second job when my boss gave me an ultimatum. I had to go to AA, or else that was it. So I just went. At my first meeting, I heard someone say that it wasn't the amount he drank, but the effect it had on him. It was very different to anything that I was used to. There were no bosses, and everybody just helped each other through sharing their experiences. I didn't get sober straight away, though. But people just kept saying, come back, and the only requirement for membership was the desire to stop drinking and that you were willing. I found it very difficult to ask somebody for help, but I was so desperate that I did.
Sorry, I was just wondering, could I have a quick word with you?
For me, asking for help is the spiritual dimension to the program.
This is my first meeting, and I need help.
Well, you've come to the right place.
My last drink was 5 years ago. I've lost that sense of uselessness, and I've gained an understanding and insight into myself which I've never had before. The most important part for me is to make amends for all the harm that I've caused my family. I brought them to an AA meeting, which was open to non-alcoholics such as family and friends, in order to show them what it was all about.
But after I had my first beer, I felt like I belonged, and I couldn't believe that I found...
Life is very good today, although I'm still facing a lot of tough challenges and I do sometimes get frightened. But I know I'll get through these very difficult times with the help of the programme and my AA friends. Okay.
We are often asked, what does AA not do? AA does not solicit membership or try to persuade anyone to join who does not want to. AA does not keep membership records. It does not engage in or sponsor research, does not join counselling or social agencies. AA does not make medical or psychological diagnosis or prognosis. AA does not provide drying out or nursing services, hospitalization, drugs, or any medical or psychiatric treatment. AA does not engage in education or propaganda about alcohol. It does not provide housing, clothes, jobs, food, money, or other welfare or social services. It does not provide domestic counselling. AA does not accept money for its services or any money from outside AA sources. So how does a person join Alcoholics Anonymous? AA runs itself according to a set of principles that we call the 12 traditions. And one of these is particularly important here. Tradition 3 states the only requirement for AA membership is a desire to stop drinking. If anyone thinks they have a problem with alcohol and they have a desire to stop drinking, we are here to help. So we've thrown away all membership rules because we want you to have the same chance of sobriety as we had. What this means is that the decision to join AA is up to you or the person alone. They may be guided to AA by a friend, relative, or professional. They may simply find a local open meeting. They may attend a closed meeting where they may be asked to identify themselves by their first name. Or they may contact the General Services Office at this number, or they may also call the local Connacht number for local information. You can rewind this video if you're looking for those numbers. Thank you for watching this video and taking the time or taking the interest in our program of Alcoholics Anonymous. If you want further information, you can visit our website. You may also call any of the numbers in the previous section. I want to wish you well in your curiosity about our fellowship and wish you well. Sláinte.